Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to War Games Unlocked, and Devin and I are doing a discussion over Unfathomable From the Abyss, the expansion to Unfathomable. And we'll probably talk about more Unfathomable, because, well, you have played Battlestar Galactica. I don't think you had played Unfathomable at that time, which is basically the same game with a re-theme. But with the expansion, I was finally able to get that played, and man, this game is so good. I really like Unfathomable a lot. Also Battlestar Galactica. But this theme does a little bit more for me, just because I've never seen the Battlestar Galactica show. And I'm a huge Lovecraft fan. His works. I love the person. Like, his morals and what he stood for. No. So this game, whenever they announced it, it was like, okay, is it basically going to be the same game? And it pretty much is. Re-themed, but whenever we had played it again, I was just reminded of what a solid hidden traitor cooperative game. But because I have done a discussion over Unfathomable, Devin, what do you think of Unfathomable?
Oh man, hey, I enjoyed the Battlestar Galactica variant, not knowing anything about Battlestar Galactica. I just know there's people there's creatures that can look identical to people and take their places. Yep. And hey, what a perfect scenario for a traitor game.
I know, right?
So, I mean, I enjoyed that one. It was great. To me, it's kind of like the quintessential Betrayal game. Because I don't remember Betrayal House on Hill very well. That was like the other one.
But
I don't remember it very well.
Yeah. Well, that one is it's cooperative until a certain point where the haunt starts, and someone just it's just like, oh,
activates.
Yeah, you were in that room with that item, so it's you.
Gotcha. Okay, that's right. But yeah, it's great. I mean, very straightforward. I mean, for the most part, simple gameplay. Yeah. Sort of the subtleties therein that are, I mean, the meat and potatoes of it all. There's the test after every turn where everyone has to play certain cards or taint it with incorrect cards.
Right.
So you're either trying to build yourself up to be prepared for these challenges or build yourself up to be prepared for those challenges to fuck it up.
Yeah. Yeah, because the core gameplay is again very straightforward, because there's certain locations on the ship that you can activate that kind of, like you said, always end up preparing you for the Mythos phase, where this is where a lot of the game and a lot of the seeding of betrayal or maybe like ways to try and give yourself some good graces, because the entire game you're giving out loyalty cards, but the way that they've done that in this game is one of my favorite mechanisms in a hidden traitor game, where it's like, okay, everyone has their loyalty card. There's 5 of us, so there's, a majority of human cards, but there's a certain number of hybrid cards, but we don't know from the get-go if those hybrid cards were dealt out, because there's still loyalty cards left. And until you're halfway through the game, it's like you don't know if there's ever a traitor. Like, you could be like sowing discourse, which is what I tend to do. Whether or not I'm the traitor, it's like I always like to start throwing out accusations, which doesn't help me in any way, because everyone's like, well, you're the one talking the most, so it has to be you. And it's like, yeah, but this game's boring if everyone's just like...
Well, it's obviously sad. It's sad every time, by the way.
It does tend to be that way. But I love that fact. I love the fact that it's like, okay, if there wasn't a traitor then, there is for sure now. So who is it? And because if there's no traitor at the beginning of the game, you're going to end up moving a lot quicker on your, because everyone's working together. And then boom, now all of a sudden those new loyalty cards are out, and now the traitors have to really start ramping up their, like, the failures of these Mythos cards. But they can't do it in an obvious way, because then they just get thrown in the brig. And it's like, all right, put them in there.
Get in the brig.
But the game has so much going against you anyway, because some of these cards are very difficult. Like, they have a high threshold value.
The monsters. Let's see here. The different, resource losses from Mythos.
Yeah. Or just from regularly advancing the ship.
I mean, you think that the curse or whatever, the spell, the cleansing ritual, It's just as much of a fucking threat.
Yeah.
As it is a benefit.
Yeah, if you're swarmed with monsters, it's like, okay, let's just get rid of all of them, and then you can.
It's like, but I need to go outside to save some people.
Right, yeah, you get out there and you're damaged, or there's passengers on the ship that get killed from it.
That's how we fucking lost.
Yeah!
They just happened to be seen. Oh, look, all these passengers in the water. All of a sudden, everyone's in the water, and it's like, oh, and the ritual's like one step away from the nuke, and it's like, guess what the traitors are gonna do?
Yeah, because I happen to have the character that whenever they reveal themselves, it's like, immediately defeat a passenger in the pile, and then it's like, now it's my turn. I'm gonna go to the chapel. I have a lore card. Boom. Then it just boom. They're just obliterated, and I think it was literally the perfect amount of souls.
It was. Yeah.
And because at first I thought I was like, whenever the first passenger was flipped, it was an X. I was like, oh no. But because you can never be too sure, because I knew it was me, but I had no idea who else was the traitor. And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's not Devin. And I'm like, could it be Alan? Just because, but maybe he's just like playing the game. And he's like, I don't really know how to be a traitor, but I'm just playing the game. And I don't know. I think that makes a lot of fun. I also love the fact if you reveal yourself as a traitor, you hand out your other loyalty card. And if you have the luck or the unlucky part of having the second hybrid, you could be like, and welcome to the team. Or you hand out a human card, and then now people could just not trust that person.
So discoursed.
It is honestly, it's a long game. Like it eats away like 2 to 3 hours. Not even that. Probably 3 hours.
It was a long one.
Like I think on the box it says 2 to 4. I'd say this game usually runs pretty long. But I don't know. It's engaging the entire time, and I think that is a telltale sign of a good game. Is if you're not like, how long have we been playing? Like when is this over? Like, you're engaged until the game is over.
Yeah. No, the Mythos and everyone having to participate or not participate. Make sure you have no cards, but it's like, okay, you're still somewhat vested, then you have to, know what's going on and kind of count the number of cards. Okay, how many negatives did we get? And did it succeed? Did it fail?
Yeah. And, with the fact of the Chaos deck, of having 2 of every card, and it's like, okay, 2... Because, there were multiple times where I threw in the incorrect card, but there were still always 2. Like, there were 2 negatives against the Mythos check. And it's like, whew, with that, okay. Because once there's more than 2, it's like, okay, someone sabotaged it.
Right, so we know there's a traitor afoot.
Right. But whenever it's exactly 2, you're like, man, was that, did someone put that in, or was it the Chaos deck? Or you could be on the traitor side and not contribute and hope that it just naturally fails, but then the Chaos deck puts in the right amount. And it's like, damn it. That happened multiple times too, where it was just enough to hit the threshold. Whenever the fail attempt would have been really bad, and it's like, okay, I need this to fail, but I don't really want to show my hand too much. Maybe the Chaos deck will help me out. And it doesn't. It's like, oh, okay, cool. It was just the right cards that got it up to that threshold. It's just such an awesome game. So whenever they announce an expansion, which Fantasy Flight is known to not really do anymore, if it's not Marvel Champions or Arkham Horror the card game, they don't really support their games.
Yeah.
So from the Abyss expansion, and we can go over kind of the modules that it throws in and see what you think. We'll go over the simple one, the Bless cards, which are...
Oh, so they weren't even in the game before, huh?
No, the blue blessing cards are basically just a new resource, a new type of card that you can get that is purely a positive. Where are they? And you have to have ways to actually draw them. Yeah, they're boons, not blessings. So they have values, 1 to 6, just like the rest of them. Ingenuity, you can discard this card for an ability as if it were any skill type. Providence, the next time you would lose 1 or more resources this turn, lose 1 fewer resource. But the values on them are always positive towards whatever skill check, regardless of the check. So, what do you think of the boons?
Oh, I mean, I didn't realize they weren't part of the core game.
Yeah. Yep, they are not. None of the only cards of the core game are the 5. The 5 skill checks. Your typical.
But you also have the traitor cards, or the treachery.
Yeah, the corruption cards,
which are just strictly negatives.
Yes.
So yeah, they're kind of their antithesis, the boon cards.
Yes. I like them. I like them as an addition because, again, if you have the corruption cards, it only makes sense. You have boon cards that.
Right.
Luckily, the only people that can draw corruption cards are revealed traitors, unless you have other ways through events that make them, which is another way that caused a lot of problems, is because some of the new Mythos cards were like, hey, throw in 4 treachery cards into the deck. And then you look at the Chaos deck and it's like, this is all treachery.
It's all treachery. Always was.
But, you're right. You mean it's treachery? It always was. The boon cards are kind of a nice way where it's like, okay, players are going to be prompted to draw them, and that's going to be very beneficial. Regardless of honestly who gets it, because it might still be helpful to the hybrids if they can play them correctly. So the boon cards, I think, were a very nice addition. The other one that was actually relatively a big one are the allies. What do you think of the allies?
The allies. So those were like the soldier and the cook.
Yeah.
We didn't use them too much.
Not really.
Someone used the soldier like first thing, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's like their action efficiency wasn't awesome.
Yeah.
They're kind of, they're neat. Nice. So essentially what were they? They were a benefit if you like rescued a passenger maybe?
They was just prompted. Like you started with some out on the game, like on the board, but like it was just, hey, if an event caused more to come out. I think the reason why the allies can be good is because they're not an action, so you can go into their spot, use them before it doesn't count as one of your 2 actions.
Oh, I didn't realize they weren't an action.
Yeah, so I think I actually still have, are they in here? No. Where are you? Where are you? And I'm so sorry. There they are. Yeah, so, because none of them say action on top. I mean, maybe some of them do. But, like, conspiracy theorists draw 1 boon card and 1 treachery card. And then they wander, like, they roll and they start moving around. Security officer has another way for you to throw someone into the brig. Soldier, defeat 1 deep one in any space. Ruffian attacks 1 monster or revealed traitor in any ship space. Add 1 to the dive result. So, but none of them say action on it. So they're just something, if they're in your space, you can just use them for their ability.
Well, it's not too bad, man.
No. Again, it's just 1 extra thing out that might help or hurt whoever is activating them.
Okay.
But you're not flooded with them. They're not just like all out on the map, which I did enjoy. There's only a few out any given time, and sometimes there's none at all. So the allies, they're there. I didn't really think that they were, amazing.
Extra content.
Yeah, pretty much. But the other big thing were the horrors, which are these 3: the Shoggoth, the tentacles, the grasping tentacles, and then the drowned spirit. What do you think of the horrors?
They added a little more variety from the, Mother Hydra and Father Dagon.
Yeah, Daddy Dagon.
Yeah, and their spawning abilities. Just an extra bit of monsters that can spawn with a few different effects. The tentacle will usually grab somebody or spawn a passenger and immediately grab them in the water.
Yep.
The spirit seemed to kind of cut through a little faster.
Yeah.
And explodes.
The spirit kind of started damaging people. What was their big thing? They damage as soon as they come in, and then they remove spells from the game. So that was kind of their big thing. And then the Shoggoth did the same thing for items. But the main thing about the horrors was the fact that they couldn't outright be defeated. Like, you couldn't just go in and kill them. If you succeeded, you could only push them back. So if they're in an interior space, you have to keep pushing them back and then spend skill cards to push them back even further. And the only way to remove them from the board is by either casting the spell.
I want you to put yourself on a boat right now. Visualize you're on a boat. You're in a tight corridor. that's coming at you. Are you pushing that back?
Yeah. I think it's just a matter of using my influence.
Yeah. Did you whip out your god-killing shotgun?
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm so obviously dead because I killed myself as soon as one deep one crawled on the ship. I would. Yeah, there's. I don't know what you do about this thing. Yeah. So the horrors are neat because again they don't constantly activate. That's what makes this game not overwhelming. Is that Mother Hydra and Father Dagon and the deep ones on top of the horrors? They're not It's not like end of turn they're all activating. It's based off the Mythos card. That's like this time it's the deep ones, and then you can quickly. This game does a fantastic job of having player aids that you can just look at and be like, okay, it's step by step. Here's what the deep ones are doing. Mm-hmm. But then if you leave them unchecked, then they become a problem.
Right, and if they destroy 6 locations,
yep,
then it's game over.
Yep, ship sinks. So I thought the horrors were a very nice touch because Mother Hydra, if they're not doing anything, then it's kind of like okay. So they had a little extra pressure, and they also stop you from activating spots, while you're there, and they can damage you and being damaged because I think at one time when you and Chris sped up the boiler room, you damaged the boiler room, which sent both of you to sickbay. And it's not, game breaking, but being sent to sickbay because whenever your entire economy is based off the cards in your hand, and you only get to draw one at the start of your turn, you can't help out anyone, and you can't really do anything because a lot of cards have you, or a lot of locations have you get rid of cards. So the horrors were a very nice touch, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the horror icon of that extra deck that kind of had another track that were generally bad whenever they went off. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. That's pretty much what the expansion added. I mean, it added
new cards, new characters, the whole 9 yards there.
Yeah, more items, more characters, more Mythos cards. Actually, 72 Mythos cards.
More!
Pretty more! Yeah, and then it added, we didn't do this, but they added Prelude cards, which we can take a look at now. So they are they're optional cards that does variable setup, which they've introduced in Eldritch Horror, which was a way to kind of be like, oh, here's how this game is going to be unique. Play-based game, but our Prelude card was different. So I'm trying to remember how those Prelude cards were introduced. Oh, maybe it is in the back. Because, again, we didn't do them, but during setup, shuffle the day, twilight, and night cards separately. Then you draw a day card, which could be variable conditions. Advance the travel track 2 spaces. This does not cause components in water spaces to move. Hey, that's a solid day one. And then we have a Twilight Preparation. Each player draws 3 skill cards from their skill set. And then you have Nighttime, which could be Boarding Party. Spawn 1 deep one in deck spaces 3 and 1 deep one in deck space 4. Move each passenger in those spaces to the closest water space. So, adds a little bit more variety to the start of the game. It could be a nice touch. So yeah. I mean, I think it's a solid expansion.
Yeah, what more could you ask? I mean, a few new gameplay components.
Right.
Mostly every function within the game is expanded on.
Yeah.
So, more of everything.
Yeah.
Great.
So if you already like Unfathomable, then it's going to be more. And what's also nice is whenever we were playing with the expansion, that was the first time we had played with it. And I was like, I'm not really going to look too much into it when things pop up. And by the time the first things that happened, like the horror track or the way the horrors work, it was super easy to be like, oh, okay, now I understand how these work.
Well, yeah, Fate track. I guess that was another one. That's
the Fate track.
It was a small track up here based off the skull symbols.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that goes with the horrors, because that's usually what spawned them in.
Gotcha, yeah.
Which was a new symbol that added to the Mythos deck, and it's like...
There's only like 4 of them.
Yeah, there's not that many. It basically just brings in, like, either brings in horrors or has them activate on top of... because that was, the new icon, which added to the Mythos deck. So yeah, like, I really... Do I think the From the Abyss expansion is a must expansion to get? Only if you play Unfathomable every day, you know? But, I don't know. I probably wouldn't play Unfathomable without it.
Yeah.
Like,
if you own a board game, you have to have all of it. It's the
you
law.
Can't do without.
If you know it exists, you have to purchase it.
Because, what are you going to do? Save your money?
Yeah, we don't do that here.
That's stupid. So... Yeah, because there's nothing that it added that I was like, I don't really like that. I really like everything that it did. So from here on out, I would play with the From the Abyss expansion. So yeah, that's it. You got any negatives? Anything about Unfathomable or the expansion that you didn't like?
Let's see. Specific thing that I didn't like? Nothing particular. Nothing was too swingy.
Right.
Essentially any fail. Our failure was kind of preordained. Unfortunately, the last game we played, there was nothing we could have done. The way that came out. It just happened to spawn close to 4. On top of your ability.
Yeah.
But it just a bunch of people spawned. We went from 5 to 0.
Yeah.
On passengers.
Yeah.
And it's just there was jack shit we could have done about that. So.
That is a good point. There's not a lot of agency. It's perfect storm of they all came out, and I don't even really remember how they all came out. They just did. I think
it was a Mythos effect. It was the Song of the Deep or whatever, and it caused a whole bunch of them to spawn, because they were jumping into the water.
That's right.
And they were 1 point away
from the cast. Yeah, and it's I will say that it's not we lost. It was probably a lot of decisions over the course of the 3 to 4 hours.
I'm not saying that. That's probably how any of these games is going to end.
Yeah.
In a betrayal victory.
Yeah.
Is that so there's going to be a resource that's middling to weak.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then a series of lucky events or unlucky events, however you want to take it, whichever side you're on, will occur.
Yeah. Because it was literally, okay, they all spawn, and then the character I had was the doctor that had the reveal ability to kill a passenger, which could have been nothing, but then it was also my turn, and nothing stops me from going to the chapel and boom, casting the spell, and we flip them. So
that can occur.
Yeah.
It wasn't too feel bads for me because I don't know. It's these kind of games. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Because it was mostly food was what was worked on.
That is true.
Food was whittled down. And it's tactical. You guys were seemed like food was the place to target.
Yes.
Because it dependably would go down just with time and just anything you could do to weaken it further.
Yes. But at that same point, you guys were at 12. You were exactly at...
Yeah, we were getting close.
So it was one more pass. So if it wasn't my turn... Well, actually, it was also bad luck because it was me as the hybrid, and then the very next player was also a hybrid.
Yeah.
But the other thing throughout the entire game is no one, besides me, was being super accusatory. And of course, as the hybrid, it's I want to sow chaos as much as possible, but if no one else is really trying to figure out who it is, the brig went untouched. Which was the first game I had played where right or wrong, no one went to the brig. And it's throw someone in there. Which the brig can be a shitty place if you're not the traitor, because if you're trying to break out, it's a skill check that everyone gets to contribute to. So if they don't want you out, you're kind of just there, not getting to play. But it's if you really think it's a player, you throw them in the brig, and it's let's see how this goes. If we start succeeding all of our Mythos checks, sorry buddy, you're staying in there. But then you can reveal yourself as a traitor, and then it's your own skill check to break out, and so on and so forth. But that whenever this kind of game wants people to the player interaction, and if everyone's playing it kind of okay, It's my turn. Your turn. Well, then I feel like that actually makes it easier for the hybrids to win. Because it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, no one's suspecting me, so I guess I'll just keep screwing things up. And the game over, because this game is not necessarily a war of attrition for the humans. If the game goes on way too long, your resources are going to run out. There's very few and far between opportunities to gain resources, and if you do gain them, it's usually at a cost. So it's like you're wanting to ramp up the travel track as much as possible, because it also puts pressure on the hybrids.
Right.
The faster you're moving, the less time they have to fail it. So they either have to reveal themselves early, which obviously shows their hand. So this is, to me, all that is a positive to the game.
No.
But yeah, no, I could definitely see if you're 3 hours in, it's just like, and everyone lost. Yeah, going from 5 to 0 on souls, where it feels like you have no control, that could be extremely frustrating. But yeah, so on a scale of 1 to 10, Devin, what are you giving Unfathomable?
What am I giving Unfathomable? Solid traitor game. It's the same game with like a different coding from the Battlestar Galactica.
That's true.
It is the same game.
Well, to be fair, you can buy this.
Yes. Oh, you can't buy the Battlestar Galactica anymore?
If you can buy the base game for like $300.
Oh, God.
So
that's fair.
And if you're looking for expansions.
And good for them for grabbing up the IP or the brainchild.
Right.
That it was. Yeah, solid. Easily a 9. I'm like, do I want to go higher? I'm trying to think. With an experienced group, it'd be pretty solid. Like where you can move a little faster.
Do you know what's interesting about that? I'm glad you brought that up, because I was the only person that had played Unfathomable. You, of course, played Battlestar Galactica. But we had... So, not counting that, even though you knew the bones of the game, we had a 5-player game, and it was 3 new people, and I felt like it went super smooth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there was ever really an instance where it's kind of like, man, I'm really not getting it. Now, that could have also been just because I happened to be the traitor. It's like, wow, the most experienced person got it. But no, there was just something about the way this game works just seems to just be intuitive. It makes sense. In a 5-player game where 4 people, 3 are brand new to the game, and it feels like everyone had played it before, that was impressive to me.
I'm still going to sit at a 9.
9?
That's like a solid game. Would recommend.
With the expansion as well?
Yeah.
A
few more moving parts. I didn't feel like it leaned it any way. Maybe actually helped balance it, possibly.
Maybe. Yeah. I think, and what's kind of neat, what the expansion does is it gives players more to do, because the boat locations really aren't all that exciting. It's, look at the top 2 waypoint decks, or move the casting track up.
Yeah, gain an item, get a few more resources.
Draw items, but because the game, again, is based off player agency, or player interaction, and these Mythos cards. Because that's where a lot of the cards are coming into play. But the expansion gave more to do. It gave more horrors to deal with. It gave more allies to deal with. So, while also adding more cards. And what's also kind of neat, they added these personal crisis cards. So in the base game, it was everyone who was playing had their own personal trauma Mythos card in the deck.
Okay.
And so maybe you drew yours, because if we drew a character that wasn't in the game, you just discarded and drew another one.
Oh, okay.
But now everyone has their personal crisis in front of them, and if you draw the personal or their own Mythos card in front of them, if you draw a personal crisis, now it comes up. And I like that. I think that adds a little bit more flavor to your character, where if you happen to be the one to draw that, you're going to have your own meltdown.
Yeah.
Based off who you are. But yeah, like I thought the expansion was, I was a little worried that it was going to really bog the game down, but having everyone at the table, again, 3 for sure people who had never played the system, and the expansion on top of that, and it felt like this just seamlessly merged into that. That's amazing. I know I'm definitely at a 9 on the base game. I think I'm gonna go 10 with the expansion. Yeah. There was nothing in the expansion that I was like, that kind of sucks. Like, the only one that we were kind of like, oh, we didn't really use them was the allies. And maybe it was just, bad allies at the given time. Some of them could come out. Maybe the soldier should have been used more. Or if the soldier pops out whenever there's a bunch of deep ones, you're just like, you run to him, kill that guy! And like you said, it just adds more characters. There's a ton more characters, streamlines it, makes the player aids a little bit better. The player aids are fantastic, where it's like you rarely have to look. Like, every time a monster activates, it's all here. You're very rarely looking through the rulebook. Yeah, it's amazing. So I really liked it. And I was going to say, yeah, it's long. That was the only thing that kind of was like, should it be a 10? Because it's 3-4 hours. But if you look back and it's like, okay, that was 4 hours, and not one of us was like, when's it over? Because we've definitely played games where it's like, this is way outstaying its welcome.
Yeah, we had one of those.
And that wasn't this game. It was awesome. So yeah, I think the expansion is great. But not a must. You don't need it. But you're going to want it. So yeah. You got anything else?
No, right. Solid. Recommend.
Well, that is our thoughts on Unfathomable and From the Abyss expansion. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.